Selamat datang di 15 menitan, unofficial podcast by Broadening, di mana kita membagi cerita generasi muda yang masih berjuang untuk masa depan mereka dan masa depan Indonesia. Di sini ada aku, Stefan, sebagai host.
Dan juga perkenalkan ada aku Nia sebagai co-host yang akan menemani Stefan dalam 15 menitan ke depan.
Hai Nia, apa kabar? Setelah kita lama hiatus, kita kembali lagi dengan episode pertama kita di season yang baru. How do you feel?
Gila, sebenarnya kayak kangen banget sih, Steph. Dan uniknya lagi, kita akan kedatangan guest yang tentunya ada di sini bersama kita ya, Steph ya. Ini adalah guest pertama yang sangat kita tunggu-tunggu tentunya.
Minggu lalu kita udah ngomongin ini ya waktu di pilot episode kita. Jadi mungkin teman-teman yang udah dengerin, kalian mungkin udah tahu beberapa hint soal guest terbaru kita. So, she is one of the co-founder of our Broadening. Dia baru saja lulus dari UCL as a Master of Biomedical Engineering. Sekarang dia bekerja as an engineer in Procter & Gamble di UK. So, daripada berlama-lama, langsung kita sambut guest pertama kita season ini. Welcome Vivian to 15 menitan.
Welcome!
Yay!
Hello.
So pumped to have you here. Thanks for being here.
Of course.
Oke, jadi kita kan kemarin udah ngomongin banyak kan soal kayak what do you want to share with us gitu kan di 15 Broadening. Jadi tapi a lot of people wants to know you better gitu loh. Kamu siapa? How is your story gitu kan? Dari gimana kayak perjalananmu selama kamu hidup in this small world menghantarkan kamu sampai di tempat ini. So maybe you could introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, hi everyone. Aku Vivian. I was born and raised di Surabaya. Dan umur 15 aku pindah ke Singapura ya to pursue my study under scholarship. And then after that, aku pindah ke University College London and I pursue integrated master in biomedical engineering. Currently, aku baru aja lulus tahun ini and then I'm working now in PNG, Procter & Gamble, UK as an engineer. And yeah, in my spare time, I have a lot of hobbies, but most of these days, I try to read a lot of books because it's winter, so it's very cozy to read books. And then, I also do yoga every weekend as well.
Ini kelihatan banget hidupnya kayak kompos nggak sih ini?
I try to.
Kalau dibandingin.
Well, let's just dial back a little bit gitu kan. Tadi kamu cerita bahwa you started your journey study abroad in Singapore and di umur 15 tahun kan, which is really young gitu for a lot of people. So, gimana ceritanya kamu sampai bisa dapat beasiswa di umur 15 tahun gitu loh, apalagi ke Singapura?
Yeah, bener banget. I think it is a combination of luck and hard work ya, as usual gitu. So basically what happened is waktu SD itu aku lumayan sering dikirim lomba gitu, and then aku tuh jadi perwakilan lomba matematika yang tapi dalam bahasa Inggris gitu loh.
Okay.
So I have to kayak look for teacher gitu-gitu kan untuk prepare. Nah ternyata waktu itu teachernya itu juga ngajarin beasiswa Singapura gitu. And that's how I found out waktu kayak aku kelas 7 gitu that oh my god there is this kayak beasiswa Singapura that is actually offered in my school gitu because it's not offered anywhere else. Jadi habis setelah aku tahu begitu, ya udah aku mulai prepare gitu kan, and then aku prepare matematikanya, aku prepare Inggrisnya, and I think since I have kayak probably I prepare intensely around kayak 1.5 years before, tapi sebelumnya itu aku lebih kayak familiarize myself with the English term gitu-gitu kan. And after that ya udah aku kayak belajar tapi nggak sampai stres juga gitu, kayak belajar yang rutin aja. And for some reason and then after that I got in gitu. And I was one of the 3 Surabayan people gitu yang got in, sisanya dari Jakarta gitu. And then ya udah that's how I kayak got the scholarship when I was 15.
I mean kayak kita tuh umur 15 tahun tuh masih mikir kayak kita mau SMA di mana gitu kan. Kita mesti mau pilih SMA lagi mikir UN gitu loh, pusing-pusingnya. Kita masih main banyak. And you decided at 50 years old to go to Singapore by yourself gitu kan. So how was it? How's the story? Kayak gimana? How did you feel about that?
Ya sih. Jadi I think waktu itu for some reason I never doubted loh in my mind that I feel like Singapore belongs to me and I belong to Singapore in a certain level gitu. And I'm not sure why I just feel called to do that. Maybe because if I'm being honest with you, mungkin waktu SMP I was a little bit bored as well. Karena I think if you notice, menurut aku nih ya, my personal opinion tuh sebenarnya like pelajaran di Indo itu nggak terlalu susah gitu. Tapi yang membuat susah dan lama tuh kalau lu main HP gitu belajarnya. That's what I notice gitu. Kayak HP nggak selesai terus kesel gitu kan. Jadi waktu itu I mean SMP memang not supposed to be difficult gimana ya, supposed to SMA juga gitu kan. So I think kayak emang awalnya itu aku juga kayak oh ya I feel like I'm up for a new challenge gitu. And so after that I also really like my teacher gitu. I really stay in contact with my teacher. Dia tuh yang kayak write my apa sih namanya reference letter gitu-gitu kayak my teacher yang matematika ini. Jadi kayak I feel challenged by what he was teaching me. And I felt challenged by just the prospect of kayak living in Singapore for 4 years, dibayarin tuition fee, dibayarin accommodation, and dikasih uang jajan gitu. I just amazing gitu kan. And kayak obviously you are right, I'm still a child even when I was 16 and I plan ahead, but I'm still a child. Jadi kayak aku tuh suka banget kayak makan kayak kalian tau gak sih es krim sandwich di Takashimaya gitu. Kayak ada es sandwich gitu es krim ditambah di roti. Jadi I really like that, and in my native brain I just felt kayak oh my god, I can go to Takashimaya and eat this ice cream every day. Jadi kayak itu sih, there is that part as well where kayak I'm also a bit familiar with Singapore and everything, and so kayak that's why I decided kayak you know what, I think this seems fun gitu. And another part I think that is very important is that like in my experience, in order for me to achieve something, I have to find something yang gimana ya, kayak easy enough to allow me to gain quick wins, but also difficult enough that I feel challenged gitu. And I think this
finding the right balance gitu ya.
This beasiswa was a right balance for me gitu. Kayak waktu aku kerjain soalnya atau aku latihan gitu, kayak there are questions that I get right gitu, and there are quite a few gitu kan. Jadi aku ngerasa kayak masih possible loh actually gitu kan. Tapi at the same time there are also challenges, especially when it come to English gitu kan. Kayak gimana writingnya yang lebih bagus gitu-gitu, and I wanna be better at that. Jadi kayak I think it was like I said gitu sih, combination of luck and kayak hard work gitu sih.
Cool.
Okay, so actually kayak bisa masuk ke Singapura dengan beasiswa dan kayak kamu juga bisa improve life kamu nggak sih secara nggak langsung, Viv? Kayak jadi lebih fokus and also banyak hal lain karena bisa mengasah Inggris dan lain sebagainya. Tapi ada nggak sih kayak perbedaan belajar yang paling kentara selama bersekolah di Indonesia dan Singapura itu sendiri?
Banget. Jadi kayak waktu aku pertama kali masuk Singapura tuh, I feel like I got a shock of my life. Because when I was in Indonesia, at least in my experience, waktu SMP gitu, itu tuh kayak lumayan banyak regurgitation gitu. Jadi aku selalu suka kasih contoh kayak gini. Misalnya kalau di Indonesia tuh kita mesti ngapal gitu nggak sih, kayak perang di Ponegoro tuh tahun berapa gitu-gitu kan. Terus siapa?
1825 saya 1830, aku masih ingat sampai sekarang.
Gila.
Ini semua kita nggak koordinat, coy.
Ya makanya, just know.
Nah, kayak kayak you have to know a lot of information, but I feel like this information itu stand alone gitu. Like it's not integrated, right? Jadi misalnya kalian tahu, tahun berapa perang, ya udah yang meninggal siapa, tapi we only know about facts. But the thing about facts is that it is Googleable, kayak it can be searched gitu kan. But when I went to Singapore tuh, what I realized tuh they almost never ask anything about facts gitu kan. Jadi kalau misalnya history gitu, I saw my friend's paper tuh, mereka pertanyaannya tuh lebih ke kayak, kayak ada 3 penyebab kayak World War II gitu ya, A, B, C. Try to argue what do you think is the most dominant cause gitu. Jadi ketika waktu di kelas, from my understanding tuh mungkin gurunya cuma kayak jelasin all the facts gitu kan, kayak penyebab A itu gimana backgroundnya, siapa yang involved, penyebab B gimana, penyebab C gimana, but at the end of the day they expand it further with critical thinking gitu, and that is actually the same for all my O-level and A-level questions. Jadi O-level and A-level questions di Singapore itu is different for international. It's called Singapore Cambridge. Jadi Singapore tuh make its own questions, and it's harder by like tenfold gitu, because all the questions that you see in the exam question gitu, if it's about fact kayak kayak misalnya chemistry dia tanyanya apa, what is ionic equation, itu paling dikasih 1 mark gitu. And definitely it's not enough to pass, or I think it's enough to pass, but only if you get all the basics right gitu. Kalau lu udah salah satu aja basicnya, definitely not pass gitu. And then the rest tuh is kind of questions yang you've never seen before gitu. Memang you have to extrapolate di waktu examnya sendiri gitu loh.
So they really ask you to think ya, kalau aku bisa bilang.
Yeah, they really ask me to think, and it's really really early on gitu. Ya memang kalau di exercise class enggak lah, exercise class ya udah they have to make sure you understand the textbook gitu kan. Tapi kalau misalnya di ini udah di exam kayak gitu semua, even for things yang kayak aku dulu ambil geografi kan, because aku masuk kelas yang ambil geografi gitu. Ya juga kayak gitu. Jadi misalnya ada tanah longsor atau apa kayak gitu, you have to evaluate kira-kira ini lebih likely disebabkan fault ini apa lebih likely disebabkan sama yang B gitu. Jadi kayak lo mau nulis juga anjir ini gimana ya? You can tell what is A, you can tell what is B, tapi nggak cukup gitu.
Well, I think it was apa yang menurutku sangat interesting itu adalah bagaimana sebenarnya konsep belajar yang kayak gitu kan sebenarnya kita butuhkan nggak sih? Karena in our growing world, di mana kayak tadi kau bilang facts are Googleable, kita tuh kan lebih butuh creativity, how we connect things kan, are we creating things that we need. Dan yang aku lihat, yang aku juga mau tanya sih, kayak you're going then to biomedical engineering kan, dan menurutku itu adalah suatu major atau suatu subject yang benar-benar creativity itu dibutuhkan, but you really need to know the facts kan, karena you need to understand biology, physics, and then you need to create something from this basic knowledge gitu kan. Apakah itu juga alasan akhirnya kamu memutuskan untuk go to UCL and do this major?
Iya, so I think waktu aku memutuskan do UCL sama biomedical engineering, I also felt out of all my kayak exploring gitu-gitu. Two things sih. Yang pertama memang I've always been interested in science gitu. Kayak I'm so interested in science, I don't think I consider kayak anything else that is not science or engineering related. Terus yang kedua, another side of education system in Singapore tuh kayak gimana ya? I think you have to be strategic in order for you to get good grades gitu. And I think sacrifices need to be made sometimes. Jadi waktu aku SMP, I actually remember I really took like an interest in literature actually, which is very unexpected ya, cause my English belepotan waktu dulu or whatever gitu. But somehow with the English yang masih belepotan, because this is another thing, kayak I prepared really well in Surabaya, but when I go to Singapore, English level is just like so high, like people write novels there. I'm like whatever gitu kan. Jadi Inggrisku termasuk belepotan gitu. Maksudnya belepotan bukan grammarnya salah sih, tapi kayak awkward expression gitu. Nah, habis itu somehow with all the English yang belepotan and stuff itu, sometimes my essay itu disebarin di kelas gitu. I think that still remains one of my top moments gitu. Kayak di fotokopi itu disebar jadi kayak sampel essay gitu kan. So, I used to really like literature. And I still do gitu. Sometimes I still kayak do it in my own time. And waktu itu akhirnya, aku tuh ingat banget, aku tuh mau pursue literature for my A-level. And then kayak sempat gitu. Tapi I didn't entertain that. I entertained that idea because it's harder to score ya in like essay-based kayak subject kan daripada science
and factual gitu ya.
And I don't think I love literature enough to kayak put my future in jeopardy gitu kan. Because you have to understand waktu itu, like, I think it's assumed to say everyone that are scholars, we are aiming for the next scholarship in a USNTU gitu kan, and you have to get certain grades to qualify for the scholarship. So I think most of the scholars yang maksudnya, are like science or at least are okay with science, they would go with science subject gitu kayak PCM, physics, chemistry, math gitu. Jadi I think because of those two things in the end kayak I decided to go kayak engineering based kayak subject.
But why specifically biomedical engineering? What is about it you find it really interesting though?
Honestly, it's because like I just like all science and I've always been interested in healthcare gitu, at least at that time. So I thought kayak biomedical engineering was a good pivot gitu kan, kayak you learn a little bit of physics, you learn a little bit of chemistry, a little bit of math, and then you can do something for like humans, you know, like you can do something for healthcare. So I think at that time it was something that's very appealing to me.
Tapi aku pingin hire sesuatu yang menarik juga dari CV-mu gitu kan. Ini karena kita punya catatan banyak tentang bergelimang CV Vivian Barley yang bisa jadi contoh semua orang gitu kan. I mean, beside of your amazing academic achievements, kita juga bisa lihat bahwa kamu active in a lot of areas gitu kan. Nggak cuma engineering and science-wise gitu loh. I mean, you're active in a lot of stuff. I mean, kenapa kamu memutuskan, mungkin kamu bisa cerita dikit ya kayak what have you been doing aside from your main study, and kenapa kamu memutuskan untuk melakukan itu?
Yeah, honestly, the short answer is that I'm gonna make sure, you know, the money that my parents spend on is gonna be used to gitu sebenarnya kayak gitu sih, kayak waktu aku ke Inggris they don't really have beasiswa gitu sih, or at least maksudnya beasiswanya are very competitive and I didn't have time to apply when I was in Singapore because I just want to make sure my A-level is ini ya tip-top gitu, in a tip-top shape to go to uni gitu kan. And so kayak I use my parents' funding, and I think it's something that really stayed with me from the first year. That my parents never really say anything, but I just felt like, oh wow, this is like expensive. I want to make sure like UCL is an amazing school. They have everything you can possibly imagine. And I want to make sure that I use a lot of the resources that are offered in my best advantage gitu sih. I think that also my fuel first of all comes from that, just like realizing the immense privilege that I have gitu kan. And I think the second one, my fuel also comes from the fact that I really want to connect with people. That's like something that I'm very big on because by connecting with people tuh I get to learn a lot of perspective gitu kan, a lot of cultures gitu-gitu. And so the fastest way I think to bond with people is to join societies, to join things that they are interested about. And so I think that's why I get involved in a few other things that are outside our academic study gitu-gitu. Kayak misalnya I was the vice president of consulting for the UCL Busy Society gitu, which is one of the largest society in UCL, and that was an amazing opportunity for me to get connected with people di UCL, even people yang udah kerja gitu-gitu kan. And then I was also vice chair ambassador for engineering gitu, and I went there because basically ini sih I mean I was of course passionate about UCL engineering, but also they pay me. You can check out our side hustle post in a broadening. And then I got free lunch and everything, so that's quite nice gitu. So I think it's just a lot of factors sih. I just want to make sure that I get to use the best of this opportunity gitu. That's most.
Tapi kayak yang sebenarnya aku lihat dari what you experience gitu kan, you try a lot of things gitu kan, from engineering and then business, education and organization wise. How do you find is there something that you really find I really want to do this gitu dari experience-mu?
Yeah, I think another reason why I try a lot of things is because I think it's important to find like your match quality. So I read about this term match quality from like this book called Range by David Epstein, and he mentioned about how like match quality is basically like your ikigai mungkin ya. I think people are more familiar with ikigai, kayak something that you love, something that you're good at, and something that you think benefit the society gitu loh. And I really wanna find my match quality gitu. And a lot of things that I realized too, the most important one is that problem solving actually doesn't just exist in science and engineering gitu.
Sure, yeah.
At least the ones that interest me, because in the past I always think, wah, nothing will be as challenging or as satisfying to me as like science gitu kan. I mean, we talk about this aku sama Stefan, kayak we really like modern physics, we really like things that are very complicated, even though our lives already complicated gitu ya.
Kayaknya kurang puas kalau cuma musikin hidup doang. Kayak kita butuh itu loh, distraction untuk musikin hal yang lain gitu loh.
Kayak kurang puas gitu. Tapi I realized, that's not so aku join di unit. There are things yang lebih require you to think strategically, including kayak a broadening gitu kan. I find that super interesting, and like it's not as easy as I thought gitu. Like you have a lot of options, maybe the options are very clear gitu kan. Mungkin you can lay out the options very clearly, but to evaluate which option you should go to atau you should go with itu actually quite challenging and quite fun gitu. Jadi I think that was the start of my pivot, and that's why I started kayak trying out new things gitu, dari kayak dari kayak a little bit of business, a little bit of a little bit of fintech gitu kan. Aku sekarang juga kayak ada project in fintech, a little bit of everything gitu. And I think it's just as important to find out about what you don't like as well gitu, rather than finding what you like kan. Jadi I think even though I actually haven't found kayak my one true calling atau gimana gitu, kayak I haven't found what the thing that I truly like, but I feel like I have an idea on things that I don't like gitu, which I think is just as important.
Actually, it seems kelihatannya gampang nggak sih define mana yang kita suka dan mana yang kita nggak suka. Cuman pasti sebelumnya banyak kayak prosesnya nggak sih buat menemukan hal tersebut. Dan kayak melihat sekarang kamu terlihat baik-baik aja.
Baik-baik sih aja.
You know what I mean? Kayak we don't know kayak the process, the iceberg. Kita nggak ngerti, cuman lihat atasnya doang. Kayak aku pengen tahu sih seberapa banyak energi yang sebenarnya kamu invest buat bisa achieve hal-hal yang akhirnya kamu dapati saat ini.
A few things sih. Oke, ini a few things. Yang pertama, kayaknya memang secara DNA gue tuh orang yang energetic gitu memang.
I could see it, definitely.
Ya, kayak gitu banget. Mama aku tuh cerita waktu aku kayak baru melek dilahirkan gitu ya, kakiku tuh udah nendang-nendang gitu. Terus kayak I used one yang
baru lahir langsung ngerjain soal fisika gitu loh.
Gak masalah, aku tidak sehebat itu kamu kali ya, calon PhD. Nah, terus kayak waktu aku ingat banget waktu cerita kayak I used to be kayak that one baby yang kalau nangis itu kayak wake up the whole ward of hospital gitu. Kayak aku nangis gitu kan. So
musingin dia Bu dari dulu ternyata.
Musing dari dulu. Kayak I heard this kind of anecdotes and so I think kayak I've always been someone yang extrovert and a lot of energy and things like this. Tapi I think another part yang I think you know sort of give me a lot of energy itu lebih ke kayak just apa ya, like being able to have control of your time and having self-discipline sih. And I think it's something yang I'm still definitely working on gitu. Because I realize for me and probably for most humans, I just need to get enough sleep gitu in order for me to become my struggle in the past is like I would have sleep but I also want to watch Netflix and I often forgo sleep for Netflix gitu kan, for kayak momentary reward or like momentary senang aja gitu. I mean I just finished Money Heist season 5, so you know I'm definitely still working on it. Tapi so I think that's what's important sih, just like being able to have self-discipline and being able to manage my time. And another thing itu, I really tried when I do a task, I really focus on it gitu. You know, jadi kayak aku tuh beneran sometimes even kalau emang tugasnya tuh susah gitu ya, I put my phone on airplane mode and any of these things. Jadi it really helps when I focus just on one task and be present for one task. Jadi ketika aku nonton Netflix pun aku juga kayak nggak takut soal task gitu loh, kayak oh my god.
Emang defaulted buat Netflix gitu ya berarti.
Benar, kayak memang aku fokusin ke Netflix gitu kan. So I think it really help, you know, because you know what I realized as well ya. Actually, a lot of things that are draining our energy itu when we are doing things that we are not supposed to be doing. Kayak misalnya kita nggak bisa make decision gitu. Jadi contohnya gitu kayak in the past kayak kita nonton Netflix tapi kayak guilty atau kayak oh my god.
I see your point ya.
So burden is actually more tired than to realize, because when I stop doing it, kayak I have all this energy that I don't know where to go atau kayak what to do with it gitu. So kayak I really try, for me personally I'm a planner gitu, so I try to plan my days beneran very very well gitu, because that's what's tiring for me. Two things. One is like when that mental energy when you're doing things you know not supposed to be doing. Yang kedua is when you keep switching task and you cannot find your flow state gitu kan. So flow state itu is basically a state where you work and time just passes by gitu. If you kayak kalau kamu pernah ngerasain gitu kan. I mean not saying every task has to be in the flow state gitu, but kayak I try to gitu. Because switching from different tasks, from different tabs, I think that in itself was also quite tiring for me.
Yeah, I agree. But how do you take a step back gitu? Karena kan kadang kita so immersed to a lot of stuff gitu kan, juggling a lot of stuff. Do you have any way yang kamu lakukan dengan it works for you gitu kan? How to compose yourself gitu? How do you find composure and peace gitu misalnya?
Well, ini sih, I definitely am not the best person working on it, but I do a lot of yoga and meditation, as I probably have told you guys so many times, because kayak I'm such a huge proponent for it gitu sih. I think kayak being able to meditate really helped me to focus, and it's actually not that difficult, right? Kayak it's actually really like, it's not as if you don't have to think about anything. I think that's the most common misconception, but the thing is just that you just have to be aware of your thoughts. Kalau kamu lagi mikirin makanan, ya udah be aware gitu, and then let it go gitu kan. So I think kayak meditation, even though difficult, but I really try to practice it. And another one too is yoga. Yeah, I think it's something that I really value in my life. Kayak I even wake up very early in the weekends to do it, and all my friends know, like morning person. Aku tuh bukan gak bisa bangun pagi gitu, except for yoga gitu. I just
and for recording this.
Exactly. Yeah, makanya kan. And I think it's very nice when I'm able to come to the yoga mat and kayak meet myself gitu. When I check out all my problems at the door and just focus on my body, focus on my mental, physical health. So yeah, I think sometimes me in the past gitu ya, we think, aduh exercise kayak gini tuh 1 jam 2 jam, I could have been doing something else gitu, kayak PR atau tugas banyak berebok belum selesai. Then I realize tugas tuh nggak pernah selesai loh, ya nggak sih?
Yeah.
You can always find another thing to do gitu. You can always there's always gonna be people who ask for meeting atau gimana. And then I realize, okay, I do need this 2 hours just to make sure the next 1 week gitu loh is good, you know? Like that 2 hour trade-off is super valuable to make sure you have a good 1 week for me.
Iya, apalagi kayak sekarang aku sadar kayak kita have meeting terus-menerus kan, apalagi with this corona thing, jadi kayak somehow kita jadi banyak banget kerjaan kan, tapi something that we a lot of time neglect itu kan soal kayak our mental and physical state gitu. Bahkan kemarin kita baru ada meme gitu kan, kerja tipes.
Aduh.
So, I mean kayak yang kamu bilang itu kayak benar tuh loh, how we need to take a step back. Dan kamu gimana, kayak do you feel any change after you've been doing it routinely?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. It is though something yang I have to say, it's not instant gitu. So I think a lot of people mungkin give up some meditation because they expect to feel different overnight gitu, atau over a week or maybe over a month. But I feel a lot of changes. Yang pertama yaitu I was able to focus on my work and I was able to use my time efficiently gitu kan as a result. Terus yang kedua yang lebih spiritual level yang nggak ada hubungannya sama productivity sih, kayak aku tuh kayak lebih sabar gitu. Kayak maksudnya sabar in a sense kayak if people are having bad mood atau bad day itu ya udah I let go aja gitu. I feel like in the past aku tuh ya bukannya dendam atau gimana ya. In the past tuh aku kayak lumayan bothered in a sense kayak what this guy problem atau what this girl's problem gitu. Tapi kalau sekarang tuh kayak ya udahlah, aku kayak jadi lebih easy going gitu, ya udahlah gitu.
There are a lot of things that you can control, right?
Kayak lebih ya udahlah, kayak lebih gampang let go aja, and then so I really enjoy that as well, because sometimes kan people don't mean also, right? Kayak they make mistake, they don't realize gini-gini, kayak ya udah biarin aja gitu. Jadi aku lebih kayak woles saya gitu.
Bener banget sih, tapi kayak bener-bener kayak orang yang tinggal di kota gede ya, terutama kalau misalnya mereka nggak taking a step back tuh bener-bener yang kayak jadi bawaannya pengen marah mulu. Kayak sesimpel as di Jakarta orang-orang kayak tin padahal baru lampu merah lampu hijau berapa detik udah langsung kayak gitu, kayak
belum lampu hijau bahkan kayaknya.
Iya, jadi kayak jujur kayak proses pendewasaan kayak gitu tuh yang justru kayak nge-force kita buat jadi lebih baik. Karena aku sendiri juga kayak baru akhir-akhir ini nge-gym Kak sebenarnya.
Wah,
kalau nggak nge-gym Aku gak bakal bangun pagi.
Nah, iya kan?
Jadi kayak, ya setuju banget.
Keren. Iya, nge-gym. I wish I can go to gym. Kalau gym, I cannot. Gak tau kenapa.
Oh, ya.
Jangan lupa satu-satu.
Capek.
Mental state dulu, habis itu baru physical state.
Oh ya bener juga. Oke, jadi kayak sebenarnya kan kalau dari mental state sebenarnya kayak Kak Vivian udah kayak oke lah settle, dan juga dari pekerjaan juga udah settle, dan juga sekarang juga udah kerja di multinational company, dan misi sebenarnya Kak Vivian itu tuh bekerja juga di tempat yang aside from engineering juga, karena kalau malah masuknya ke ini ya bisnis dan sebagainya. Nah sebenarnya aside from dari belajar di biomedical engineering terus habis itu bisnis kerjanya, tapi di luar itu masih kayak ada pekerjaan-pekerjaan lain kayak misal melalui building society building community dia broadening. Nah itu sebenarnya kayak apa sih yang mendorong Kak Vivian buat bisa berpikir sampai membuat hal tersebut yang cukup running dengan baik juga hingga saat ini?
Sebenarnya my job in PNG tetap masih engineering sih, tapi memang engineeringnya tuh engineering yang I wouldn't say engineering yang hitung-hitung matematika gitu. Engineeringnya tuh yang lebih kayak project management gitu-gitu, lebih kayak testing machines and like what needs to go inside kayak the testing of the machines gitu, kayak stakeholder management juga sih. Jadi because kayak I need a lot of data gitu kan from a lot of people, a lot of stakeholder gitu-gitu. And yeah, I think yang menurut aku yang mendorong aku untuk kayak melakukan hal lain itu lebih ke kayak ini sih, apa ya, just the fact that ya itu I really want to find my match quality gitu. I mean I am fulfilled and satisfied in my job and everything, but I just feel lebih ke kayak kayak I'm not gonna be defined by my job almost gitu. So I don't think my job should take like I don't think my job should take up all of my time gitu.
Jadi kayak misalnya you don't want to be kayak known as Vivian from PNG, tapi you want to someone to define you as yourself gitu nggak sih?
Yeah, something like that. Well, I think if they know Vivian from PNG yang kerjanya bagus, I'll take it. I'll take it. Bercanda. Tapi bener, kayak maksudnya, I just feel like there are other things that I just want to pursue gitu. And this is something interesting in a sense kayak in Europe, work-life balance is priority ya. Jadi, you know what I mean? Jadi kita tuh, for my job, maybe I don't always end at 5 p.m. Tapi maybe sometimes I end 7 p.m., 8 p.m., which is quite late. Tapi maksudnya, other than that, I don't have to work in the weekends gitu-gitu kan. And if you do, it's probably because you want to, not because you need to gitu. Nah, jadi I think lebih ke kayak gitu sih. I just want to kayak keep exploring my passion kan. Even though I have found a job, but I do still feel I can do other things outside my job gitu-gitu. And second thing, I also feel kayak I'm still so young gitu. I really don't know like where I want to end up really even after trying all these things. I still don't know where I want to end up. And another thing yang lebih penting tuh kayak soal mobility ya, in a sense kayak I don't know if I want to live in the UK forever gitu. Mungkin aku mau pulang Indo, mungkin aku mau ke US, mungkin mau kemana. Dan I think it's important to understand in each country itu apa sih, kayak apa industri yang booming gitu kan, apa yang sebenarnya masih happening. Dan ya makanya I decided to kayak ikut-ikut project gitu kayak Young Leaders for Indonesia gitu-gitu, karena ya menurut aku fun-fun aja gitu sih. And memang I think another thing that I want to highlight tuh juga kayak even I am involved in a lot of project, and sometimes tuh memang mental health, there are cases where it's not my priority gitu kan. So, because I don't want to paint this image where kayak, I can do everything at ease, because it can be challenging sometimes, and it can be very tough. But another thing that I want to highlight too, sometimes for me personally, I don't prioritize my mental health 24/7 gitu. And it's something that I stand by for myself, not advising it for other people. Karena I think in the narrative outside, banyak yang bilang, mental health is the most important thing. Mental health tuh, you have to prioritize it all the time. to me that is not the case sih. Kayak I mean memang when it's really really busy period, such as kayak right now gitu kan, when my family is coming and then I have a lot of deadlines in my other projects, and then broadening juga buka podcast and all these things, my mental health does suffer gitu. I mean when I say suffer tuh lebih ke kayak ya ngerasa stres gitu kan ya, bukan kayak gimana juga gitu, tapi I know aku ngerasa stres atau mungkin kayak agak nggak tenang gitu kan, wah I have so many things nggak selesai gitu. But I think what really matters tuh is acceptance gitu, you know what I mean? Just accepting that okay, in the next 2 weeks my mental health is gonna suffer gitu. I think that acceptance, and like I said ya, kayak we come back again to taking step back gitu loh, kayak having that time to take a step back and accept that okay my mental health is gonna suffer tuh does me a lot better than ketika you are not aware and then gak ngerti gitu kayak what's happening to me, padahal what's happening to you is just you have all of deadlines and your mental health take a back seat gitu kan. Jadi I think that's what's important to me. Mental health suffering itu kayak ya when I say suffer nggak gimana-gimana again, tapi mental health sort of decline I would say ya is fine to me gitu. But as long as I'm aware of it, so I can prepare myself for it gitu. Jadi misalnya kayak kalau aku lagi sibuk, aku suka makan enak gitu. Then I also accept. Okay,
I agree to that. Self reward itu penting.
Maybe I'll accept kayak okay my bank account mungkin agak turun dikit gitu kan, atau kayak okay maybe I will gain some weight gitu. Jadi I think having that awareness is super important ya, kayak in everything, because kayak you prepare for the outcome. Jadi ketika nanti kamu gendutan dikit atau gimana, nggak sedih, because you know this is gonna happen. You know that in order to get the job done, kayak this is what's required gitu kan. And I mean you have to evaluate, ini periodnya berapa lama gitu kan. But for me usually it's around 2 weeks, maximum 1 month gitu kan, busy period. And ya udah, kayak as long as you have that awareness, it's actually fine for me gitu. That's why I think kayak maybe as you say I have a lot of energy gitu ya, it's because kayak I'm aware what's gonna come. Kayak I really take the step back and acknowledge kayak okay aku bakal capek, it's fine gitu. Jadi aku nggak gerundel gitu dalamnya kayak kenapa sih aku capek banget gitu, karena I already know aku bakal capek gitu.
Dan itu sesuatu yang you choose to do kan, karena kamu itu you kayak aware to choose the decisions. Tapi yang kita belum ngomongin dari tadi itu adalah kayak we have talked all about yourself kan, about how you keep composure for yourself. Tapi satu hal yang belum kita omongin adalah I see bahwa kamu tuh punya suatu keinginan lebih besar lagi, terutama untuk contributing to the society. Apalagi kayak kamu melihat bahwa kamu dapat privilege tadi, bahwa kamu bisa kuliah belajar di Singapura saat kamu masih muda, and then you go to the UK, and now you're working as an engineer, and you now doing a lot of stuff aside kan. So I believe that you have something that really big that you want to achieve to the people. Is it correct?
Yeah, that's definitely correct. I think passion, my fuel first and foremost too is passion, yeah. And something about me too is that people tell me kayak I have a strong conviction of how things should look like and how things should be done gitu. And it can rub people off the wrong way sometimes. I do acknowledge that, and I have experience that sometimes ketika aku talk about these things yang people are not as passionate itu, maybe they think it's like a little bit preachy gitu kan, atau a little bit kayak prescriptive gitu. Padahal I try my best that there are reasons why I feel so strongly about something and how it should be done, and it's because especially education gitu. Jadi and this makes sense, right? Because kayak education is something that is very close to my heart. Of course, when I was young, my family places a lot of value for education. I mean, I go to UCL here, you know, let's be real, tuition fee is expensive, but my parents do save a lot of money as much as they can when I was young. So it has always been kayak the plan gitu kan. Kayak, I mean, we don't know where I was gonna go at that time, tapi maksudnya they wanna make sure kalau misalnya aku bisa kemana gitu, kayak mereka juga bisa bayarin gitu. So, jadi itu satu ya, value of education is super important in my family. Terus yang kedua, that opportunity to go to Singapore when I was 15 completely shift my perspective gitu. Kayak I get understanding of how learning should look like and how learning should feel like gitu. And I'm not saying that every country or Indonesia should have something that is as insane as Singapore, because I think Singapore education is so insane. In UCL first year, matematika, aku nggak pernah masuk kelas and I still get 80 for the final year. So it was that difficult. I'm not saying everything should be that difficult. I'm not saying kayak this is the only way to, have kayak good education system, but it does make me realize, a lot of these critical thinking skills gitu. It's very important, especially ketika aku nggak tahu kalian ya, tapi kalau aku ikutin kayak Instagram account Pintem Politik atau apa kayak WhatsApp Indonesia gitu, you look at the comments and you are like, how can this person comment like this gitu? Kamu baca postnya nggak sih di atas gitu kan? I think it really is a habit. Reading is a habit. Critical thinking is also a habit gitu kan. I think that's jadi itu reason kedua gitu ya. I just feel very passionate about education and how it should look like and how it should feel like. Dan yang ketiga tuh, I do think education and mentorship is the strongest tool for social mobility gitu. Kayak education itu adalah something yang bisa mensejahterakan community gitu. And I want to empower my community. That's why kalau kamu lihat CV aku di UCL, kayak aku juga banyak a lot of mentorship sebenarnya. Kayak I created, kayak even waktu di consulting, jadi waktu di Vice President Consulting kan business society ya, everyone is concerned about money, obviously. Everyone is concerned about career in finance, kayak gitu-gitu. I make my own mentorship masih gitu, kayak that's how passionate I am about mentorship gitu kan. And waktu aku sebelum lulus, aku juga di final year tuh make my own kayak webinar bi-weekly gitu, kayak helping people to go to PhD sama helping people to go to industry gitu. And it's something that I am really, really passionate about gitu ya, because I do think education can change life gitu. Kayak if it wasn't for my Singapore, I don't think I would be here gitu, I think. Because kenapa? Yang pertama, aku di Surabaya, aku masuk national school, aku nggak masuk internasional. Because kayak I think waktu itu ya memang my family juga kayak kayak sekolah Katolik gitu kan, not really familiar to international school. Yang kedua, financial wise, I mean I'm not sure how likely it is, right? Because the whole reason why they can save is because my 4 year itu dibayarin Singapura gitu. Jadi kayak if I graduate with my national ijazah, ya maksudnya I'm not saying it determines kayak my success atau gimana, tapi definitely my undergrad nggak mungkin in something as cool as UCL gitu kan. Because kayak ijazah SMA nggak cukup untuk masuk UCL. Jadi I think it really changed my life gitu loh, Stefan. Kayak it really changed my life, this scholarship. And kayak I'm so passionate about it because I just feel sometimes people don't know the information gitu kan. But hey, I wanna let people know kayak this information exists. Kayak there are many ways to roam. Also, you don't have to get too cool undergrad in the first place gitu kan. Kayak you will find your own way gitu. Jadi waktu aku di Singapura juga temanku juga nggak masuk A-level sekolah yang bagus, but she end up in Stanford and MIT gitu. Kayak maksudnya it's not limitation gitu loh at the end of the day. Kayak, so that's why I think aku tuh passionate banget for using education to empower community gitu. Empower community, make sure that they can do the best with their privilege, make sure that they can open up their horizon, their perspective, because I think it's not just about grades, it's not just about education, but it's also about kayak having voice on an opinion on social issues that affect you gitu kan. You know what I mean? So, super important.
Ya, aku lihat tuh, I mean in a sense education has changed your life and it will change a lot of people's life kan. And for the last question, kayak to round out everything, I mean kayak tadi kamu sendiri bilang bahwa Singapore is your kind of your starting point kan to this big journey that you're doing right now. Kalau kamu sekarang ada kesempatan to meet your 15-year-old Vivian gitu kan, something that going to go to Singapore, what is one thing that you're gonna tell her?
Okay, I will tell two things.
Okay, sure.
Jadi pertama, I want to tell her that even though you're not seeing the result, it's not that kayak you are not doing anything. It's just that things take time. Kayak patience takes time gitu. I think that is super important, and it is something that I also need to tell myself right now. A lot of times I feel that you're putting in all the effort, you're putting in all the hard work, tapi tetap aja kayak gak ada progress gitu. Kayak misalnya kamu apply apa, tetap aja ketolak gitu. Kamu nyoba something else, tetap aja gak pan out. And I would like to tell my 15 years old itu, it's not as if these efforts are going to a waste gitu loh. It's just that it's not your time yet, if you believe in God. And things memang take time to reach the tipping point gitu. Jadi misalnya if you imagine waktu kayak you say my Singapore is my starting point gitu kan, and I think on paper that's true, but looking back my starting point tuh mungkin waktu aku even kelas 2 SD gitu, you know, or maybe aku 3 SD gitu kan, dimana things tuh take time to build up kan. Kayak awalnya tuh gimana aku bisa ranking 1 dulu di kelas ya kan, ranking 1 di kelas, terus ranking 1 paralel gitu. Habis ranking 1 paralel dikirim siswa teladan misalnya gitu. Nah habis kirim siswa teladan baru ditawarin kayak represent school for math competition. Nah dan itu walaupun dari kayak step kayak A ke step 4 gitu ya, step 1 ke step 4, mungkin kelihatannya tuh kayak apa ya, minimum improvement gitu kan, marginal improvement dikit-dikit, tapi that improvement does build up, and once it builds up, it allows me to go to that tipping point where it's accelerated gitu. Kayak okay, habis dari mathematical competition langsung ketemu teacher, langsung ketemu boom scholarship opportunity gitu. Nah I think people tuh sometimes lupa dan cuma ngelihatnya that boom gitu kan, kayak cepatnya
just the end product, right?
Just produk, padahal dari dulu banyak juga gitu. And I think right now I'm in that phase juga, to be honest with you gitu, kayak you know, I try out for opportunity and I prepare a lot for it, and it didn't work out, and it's so tempting to say to myself kayak, wah I'm a loser gitu, kayak apa gunanya gue put all this effort gak berguna gitu, kayak at the end of the day I didn't get the job, or I didn't get that interview, atau kayak aku sampai final interview masih gak bisa gitu. Tapi when I look back, it really helped me in other things gitu, and I think it has to be acknowledged kan. You have to respect yourself, you have to honor yourself for the hard work that you do, dan jangan diminimize gitu. Nah terus yang kedua very quickly juga, yaitu taking a step back and having self-awareness is super important, especially for people who are hardworking. It's important not only kayak for people who are hardworking like us, it's more important to take a step back than to push forward. Because we have a lot of energy to push forward. Tapi push forward lu mau kemana gitu kayak, you know, kayak dulu aku kayak gitu. Lu push forward terus tapi kayak ketabrak terus, kayak you don't know where you're going. You don't have time to kayak, you know what, let me check my GPS. Find out where I'm going gitu. I think so that would be the second one. I think taking a step back sometimes is more important than pushing forward gitu.
Sure. Thank you so much Vivian for sharing your story. I mean, kalau aku yakin kalau misalnya you're 15 year old like sekarang dengerin what you're talking right now, she will be really proud of you, I guess.
I hope so.
So unfortunately that's the end of our conversation today. Terima kasih Vivian udah share a lot of her story. Jangan lupa kalau mau langsung ke Vivian, you could just contact us in Abroadlearning at 15 menitan, atau just langsung kontak ke akun Instagram Vivian, open for public ya. Okay, so this is our end of conversation. Kita bertemu lagi seperti biasa setiap hari Selasa. Jangan lupa follow kami di Instagram @15menitan dan @abroadlearning.id. Subscribe di platform podcast favorit kalian dan subscribe, like, and comment di channel YouTube kita. This is 15 Menitan, an official podcast by Abroadlearning. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, bye. Bye.